So why of all the pets, I mean, you're good, you're normal, you got mules. You're mostly normal that way.
Yes.
But then you have this ferret. Like, how did that even begin? I remember your other one too.
Yeah, we've had, this is the 4th ferret I've had. Had George Tater Salad, Ralphie.
George Tater Salad, that's one.
Yes.
Not 3. Not
No,
George
just
and then
one.
Tater and Salad.
No.
No, just George Tater Salad.
Yep.
And then Ralphie.
Yep. And then Wally.
I remember Wally.
Mm-hmm. And then
Now Cheeto.
Cheeto. Yeah. And Cheeto turns a year next month. So, yeah, I think having a ferret is almost like having a wild, hairy terrorist that lives with you. So it keeps things interesting.
Well, you was telling me after Wally died, like, you was finding stashes
Oh, yeah.
of things.
Yeah, I mean, and Ralphie, like, we moved a cabinet once, and we were like, oh my God. I mean, he had, probably like 15 Snickers bars, and he had
like,
a
there's my
webcam.
candy.
I know.
Kip's like, that's who stole my Snickers,
Somebody's
huh?
watch. I had like a webcam, some duct tape. We were like, what is he building? We figured it was a spaceship.
To all my listeners out there, you're wondering what the crap we're talking about. I'm here with my good buddy, Jessy Coltrane. And, she's mostly normal, but then she has these things. So, but I like to bring interesting people on the show. So, Jessy, you and your ferret, thanks for being here.
Sure. Too bad Cheeto couldn't make it.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, that would have been great. You guys, Jessy's been coming to my clinics for a long time now. I still remember the very first clinic you came to. A friend of yours bought a bunch of new mules, and do I remember right? He signed you up.
Yeah.
He signed you up for the clinic in Salmon.
Mm-hmm. He said, if you ride this mule I just got, I'll pay for you to go to this mule clinic. And I said, heck yeah. I've never ridden a mule. I've never been to a mule clinic. Sounds fantastic.
And that was interesting. And then I remember we learned very quickly that these mules hadn't really been ridden. Maybe never.
Never. Mine hadn't, never.
Yeah. So, and you still kept coming back.
Oh.
So what did you... This is something I guess I really don't know. So I'm not just asking for my audience. I'm asking for me too. Did you have horses or anything before that first clinic?
Yes.
Or what'd you do?
I had a horse and then a pony. So I had a horse and a pony at the time. I'd always wanted a mule, but I never really had the opportunity. I'd ridden one of Jim's mules before in the Brooks Range. And but when I went to your clinic and that mule had her tied up to the rail, I went to saddle her and I put, it's saddle pad on and she shot straight up in the air. Mm-hmm. And I looked at Jim because he was notorious for doing this to me. And I said, Jim, has this mule ever been ridden? And he's like, oh, that one? I was like,
yeah.
But what I loved about it was, so here was a mule. She was a real friendly mule that had never been ridden, had never done groundwork. I mean, I had done groundwork, but not well, and I didn't know much, and she didn't know anything. But by the end of the first day, because we rode in the afternoon, that was when you were doing those full days.
Yeah.
And I remember like getting on in the afternoon and being like, I'm alive! And by the end of the third day, I mean, we were playing soccer.
Oh yeah, back when we used to play soccer,
Yeah.
that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it was chaos.
We shouldn't have brought that up because all my sisters were like, what, you played soccer? Yeah, well,
we don't do that.
We don't do that, and there's lots of reasons why.
Yeah. We also don't lope in mass anymore. Yeah. But, I loved how the mule had learned.
Yeah.
And just watching, like, this mule who knew nothing, by the end of the first day, how attached she was to me, how just when I'd walk through the parking lot, she'd watch me, and call to me.
Yeah.
and was like, what do you want me to do? Is this what you want me to do? Okay, it was okay. And I just liked how they learned so much. After that clinic, I was like, Jim, find me a mule. That's probably a bad person to ask to find you a mule, but you know, I'm always up for a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. So what year was that? Do you remember?
2015.
2015.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're 2025 now. 10 years of coming to clinics. I don't even know how many clinics you've been to, but you've been to a lot of foundation classes. You've been to a lot of Mulemanship 1 classes, colt starting. You've been to our extreme trail clinic. You've done cow working.
I got the buckle.
You got the buckle. 5 years. 5-year buckle.
Mm-hmm.
Rock hopping.
Yeah.
What's been like something that's really changed in you over a decade of learning? Like what's different for you now? You have a lot more experience.
I have a lot more experience.
That's for sure.
I never stop learning.
Yeah.
I think how I perceive it and learning is definitely different. Mm-hmm. Like I don't perceive an end goal anymore. Like it's just a continual process and we'll get where we get. So that's probably changed in how I think about it. But I think also as I have gained more knowledge and I like to think skill, I've become more particular. Mm-hmm. And I think being more particular in every little thing has translated into doing a better job overall with my mule. So I think that's a big difference.
I want to go back for a second before you go on. I want to go back to the first thing you said, how about like, you know, not having an exact end goal to achieve it. It's kind of like the bar is continually being raised. And I've heard a lot of successful business leaders actually speak of this, how we should set goals. We should set achievements that we want to find. However, don't hang out in that achievement too long. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you should pat yourself on the back and say good job, but then immediately have a backup goal. You know Christina Bailey. Mm-hmm. She's been on this show a couple times now actually, and she's a very inspirational person, and she spoke of that at one of our masterclass Zooms. Mm-hmm. About how you reach this level, don't get stagnant, don't just stay there. But what you're saying is interesting, how you've kind of even taken a step further to where you've accepted the fact that, hey, I'm always just going to be learning. Mm-hmm. There is no ceiling, and you're not just saying that here. You guys, she actually exemplifies that in our clinic. She's always learning. People ask, I've heard you have this conversation multiple times. People ask, well, how many times do you go to Mulemanship 1? And you're like, forever. Yeah. Like, I just keep going.
I know.
And you're always learning, just getting better. And you've been with me long enough that you've kind of grown with me too, because I'm always learning, and I'm never content where I'm at.
Yeah, I've had to reteach my mules how to roll the hinds. Thanks so much, Ty.
Yeah. Well, hey, we get something better.
It's working out better for me. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I like that, honestly, when I think about goals, and, at the beginning of the master class every year, you're like, put down your goals. And I'm always like, I don't like, I have like this, I just want to get better, and we'll just get wherever we get, but we're just going to keep trying to get better, more attitude. Yes, I would like to have a bridle mule, but I don't even know really what that goal means. I mean, I know theoretically what it means, but to me, that's just like something way out there. But as long as I'm improving and not getting hung up on, did I get where I wanted to go, it doesn't bother me. So it's like, meh. Like, I think today was a great example of, yesterday went so well on a lot of the lateral work, and then today we weren't doing so well because there was distractions. And so new goal reset, and we didn't get further in the lateral work today, but hey, we did way better in moving. So yay, that was a new goal, and on we went. You know, it's like I don't sweat the small stuff too much.
Yeah, you're good at rolling with it. I think it's important to have that mindset of just accepting the fact that I'm always going to be learning. And I think that's what keeps people out of getting stagnant, because some people go like, well, yeah, I don't really have any goals. And because of that, they fall back. And in mulemanship, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Yeah.
Like you really don't get to stay in the same spot. You really don't. Like, it's really hard to stay in the same spot. You have to be getting better or you're getting worse at it.
You know, and honestly, when I have talked to people in the past, or I watch other people that like, you know, that you like, what are your goals? I want to do a flying lead change. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, no, okay, yeah, those are goals, you know, but they're nothing that I ever think about. I just don't. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm like, eventually we'll get to that. Yes, I hope so, because I just want today to go better.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Well,
you could say I was weird.
Yeah, well, we all know you're weird. That's just a given. Most of the people listening to the show are going to know who you are already. So they're going to be like, yeah, well, that confirms it. Okay, before we keep plugging on here, I want to go back a little bit. I know most of our listeners will know who you are because you've been around so long with us, and you're a big part of the master class year after year, and you do a great job of being active in our social media groups and all that. You're awesome. But for the rare case of somebody that doesn't know you, let's go back and give us the big bird's eye view of who Jessy Coltrane is. Take us back to way back how you grew up and getting into equine. You had an interesting childhood, living all over the world. So maybe you could even go back there, because that might even explain some of your weirdness.
Yeah. So I grew up in Saudi Arabia. My dad was a pilot for an oil company, so I grew up on a compound in Saudi Arabia, and then went to boarding school in the States. Didn't really have much ties to the States. Spent most of my college and master's degree years in Central and South America, working in the tropics, and I got my have my master's in wildlife ecology and conservation. And then after I finished all that, I didn't really have many ties there, and I thought, what was the wildest place I could go in the States? So I moved to Alaska.
Yep.
And I lived in Alaska for 17 years, and I got my PhD up there in wildlife nutritional physiology while I was working for the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
What exactly is wildlife nutritional physiology?
It's a lot of very fancy stuff, Ty.
Sounds very sophisticated.
Yes. Well, I studied the winter nutritional physiology of porcupines.
Oh, wow.
So basically, it's like what animals need to eat to survive in the environments that they live in, and how physiologically they are adapted to that diet in those environments.
Oh, cool.
How do they make it? So, so I studied porcupines up there.
Sounds like a pokey job.
Yeah, it was fun. I love porcupines. They're pretty cool.
So in all your experiences and studies, did you ever get hit by one?
Porcupine quills?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had lots of quills in me. But you gotta be fast. Pretty fast, and you know. But yeah, so in Alaska, it was kind of funny because when I was a kid, I always wanted a horse. My dad grew up on a farm with horses, and they used to have Chincoteague ponies. And my family's all pretty small, and they rode ponies. My dad used to ride his pony to school, and my granddad had horses and ponies, and I always wanted a horse. And living in Saudi Arabia, you had to keep a horse at a hobby farm in a box stall. And my dad said, no, that's not humane. I'm not going to do that. I think he just didn't want to drive me there every day.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I had a friend who had a couple of horses. So I rode those horses. And then when I moved to Alaska, I always thought, like, you got to be insane to have a horse in Alaska because, A, it's very expensive. Most of the hay is imported.
Right.
Everything's expensive. There's not good vets.
Do they have? There's probably not much of a season to grow like alfalfa or grass much. Like
There is a short season.
you get like one cut.
Yeah, and you have to fight the rain is the biggest issue.
Yeah, getting it dried out and
Yeah.
baled.
So getting local hay is a big issue. Mostly they ship hay up, from Canada or other places and through Canada. So it's expensive, and the climate's not great. A lot of bogs and stuff. So I always thought, man, people with horses in Alaska, they're nuts. And then I met a guy that had horses, and he was a trainer, and he was like, you can come ride my horses, and I was like, yes. And so I got a horse. I leased one of his horses for several years, and then I got my first colt from him. He had bought, he said, I'll sell you this colt and I'll help you train it. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So that was kind of my journey into having my own equines, as an adult, not just borrowing and riding other people's. So yeah, then 2015 we moved down to Montana, in part because I really wanted to have my horse at home, and I wanted a longer riding season and be able to do more with the horse I had. And then I met mules and got rid of all the horses. So yeah.
Wow. So riding, when you went with this trainer, did you guys go out in the mountains much? Like, did you go ride out, or is this an arena deal in Alaska?
He lived adjacent to a city park, but what we had in Anchorage as city parks were what people consider more like state parks or wilderness areas here.
Okay.
So I could ride straight from his place.
Sweet.
He had a 60-foot round pen, that was it. And so we did training there, and then it was like, and honestly, he wasn't really riding that much. He had a heart condition at that point in time, so he would help me, and I had two girlfriends that I would ride with, but it was really kind of like, here you go, you should ride your horse out, and so I just did, and just dealt with it and tried to work through things on my own.
Yeah.
Like I was riding one day through the alders, so I'm like crouched down like this, and I popped out onto this trail, and there was a guy on a bike, and he was like kind of looking like wide-eyed at me, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, did you see that brown bear? I was like, what? He's like, there was a brown bear right behind you, and I was like, nope, we didn't see it.
That's funny. I was just gonna ask you if you got any bear stories or moose stories up there, and
Yeah.
so the horse didn't seem to care, huh?
The horse didn't seem to care.
Maybe didn't know.
I don't think the horse noticed, but we would, brown bears tracks all over, and the moose, they came through, they'd get in the paddocks with them, so moose were no big deal. You can ride right up to a moose. The moose will just stand there.
Yeah.
They don't register the horse very much, so. Yeah, unlike I've only run into a moose once here on Penelope, but she didn't think that was a good idea. I was like, Penelope, it's just a moose. She's like, we should run.
We should run.
Save ourselves.
You can stay, but I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't say we have a lot of moose in Utah, but there's quite a few around where we live, and it's interesting, the different, like if you come upon some of those young bulls and stuff, they're pretty docile, they don't really care much, but come upon a cow and a calf, and that cow was most definitely like, no, you guys ain't coming over here.
Yeah, get out.
And those mules they feel that.
Yeah.
And so do you.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah,
oh.
I got you. You bet.
Please.
So
Yeah.
I've never had any issues with bears, with the mules, knock on wood, but so I guess the closest animals that I've had any aggression from would be the moose down in Utah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really had aggression with other animals. It's always just the question of like,
Surprise.
what is this? Yes, surprise. Like, honestly, grouse are scarier, and I have a
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's like,
grouse, turkeys, pheasants. Yeah,
mouse got hit in the head with a grouse the other day, and guess what?
What?
I fell off. I mean, big surprise, right?
What? So it just flew out and smacked her?
It flew out, and she was trying to eat, and I was getting ready to swat her because she was eating, and it flew up right in her face, and she jumped sideways, and I went bloop.
Oh, and those grouse, they're pain because they don't flush until you're right there.
Yes.
Just right there, and they're like, ah, and they gotta go.
I know, and
Man.
most times she didn't care, but we did run into a bear the other day, and she was fine with the bear because it left.
It's out. Yeah.
So, but yes, grouse, and I've got a borrowed mule this summer that I hang on to for pack trips, and Dewey is terrified of juncos. All other birds are fine, but the juncos really creep him out.
What is that?
They're a little songbird about this big, and they're always in the bushes, and he literally he's like, oh my God, it's a junco. I was like, I know, birds aren't real, Dewey. It's okay.
Yeah, you have to show me one of those sometimes. 'Cause I'm like,
they're just a little nondescript songbird.
just a little bird, and he's no go. Huh?
Yeah, no go. He does not like it.
You've met, Sky's dad, Grandpa Larry, the legend. Mm-hmm. We were riding one time near the Tetons, and I think it was the Teton, whatever. It doesn't matter where it was. But a grouse flushed after he had barely passed it. So the grouse was just behind basically his stirrup. So think mule's flank. And as it flew up, the mule he was on kicked out and kicked that grouse and killed it.
Oh!
Like, done. And we're like, whoa. Well, that ain't you, Grandpa Larry. that was some crazy accuracy. That was like some ninja. Sorry, grouse. It was a bad day for you. That was a really bad day for the grouse. But yeah, I've had a lot of turkeys down in Utah. We have tons of turkeys.
Oh yeah.
And there's one particular story that I was a young kid, so I'm sure my dad could tell the details because it happened to him. But turkey flushed, and his mule grabbed its butt and took off running, and made a bend, and there was a stub end of a branch, a pretty thick branch coming out, the stub end of it, and my dad ran right into that with his face.
Oh.
Boom, and he wore glasses and busted his glasses off, so now he's blind. And he was really blind for sure. Like without his glasses, he could not see. I remember as a kid, it scared me because he was bleeding everywhere, bloody face, and he can't see, and he's upset, saying lots of particular words that a young child shouldn't hear. So I was pretty worried, and he was hurt pretty good. And I remember for a long time, I kept my eyes open for turkeys and grouse and pheasants and all that. But so you're right. I guess when it comes to wildlife, the birds are a lot more riskier to be around than the bear.
Yeah, the bear hears you coming and gets out of the way. The birds lie in wait to jump out at you.
Speaking of bear, you're crazy. You like to climb into bear dens and all that business. Talk about that and how you use your mules at work and everything.
Well, I don't do bear stuff anymore since I left Alaska, so I left that up to the other Montana biologists. But yeah, I used to do a lot of bear work in Alaska, and we'd sometimes go in to retrieve collars or dart bears in their dens and pull them out, and not recommended. But yeah, now that I'm here in Montana, I've had a couple different jobs, but currently I'm the non-game and fur bearer biologist for Northwest Montana for Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, the state agency. And I study and monitor fur bearers, which are like mostly mesocarnivores, so things that trappers or other folks harvest for their fur, so bobcats, martens, wolverines, lynx, fishers, and right now we have a big marten project going on. And then I do a lot of non-game work too, so I'm really into salamanders these days, and they're really awesome.
I saw a salamander the other day.
Oh, cool. What kind?
I thought about you. I have no idea what kind. I have no clue. I didn't even know there's different kinds of salamanders.
Well, yes, Ty, there are different kinds of salamanders.
Well, yeah, salamander,
Lots
salamander.
of them.
But me and Swayze saw it, and we did think about you. I'm like, oh yeah, Jessy likes salamander.
Yes, I do. Yes.
It was a bad day for that salamander because it was a dead salamander.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But I did think about you.
Yeah, they're very cool. You should, well, dead might have been hard to identify. Yeah, so I am fortunate that I can use my mules for work, which I've been doing since I got here, pretty much. It's been a progression of, going along on pack trips with the wardens and the state animals and just riding to like the last couple of years. I've now have mules that I can pack and ride and take other folks, but mostly I've been using them for these large-scale like mesocarnivore monitoring programs where in the past we didn't have a lot of ability to do work in the wilderness areas because of access, and if you got to get 40 miles back to put up this remote monitoring station, which right now they are, we use an automated scent pump, which is about this big and weighs, gosh, I don't know, it probably weighs 10 pounds full, and then a remote camera in a metal bear box and a cable and all the tools to put that up, and a part of a cow femur. So you're talking about a lot of weight in general. So if you were backpacking that, it's very difficult to carry all your backpacking gear plus all of that. So having mules has enabled me to expand a lot of our monitoring efforts into these more remote locations, which is great because a lot of these areas we just didn't have the ability to monitor very well. So right now we've got a big marten project going on and a PhD student out of Montana State University that's working on that. And yeah, this summer I've been packing in and...
You've been going.
Yeah, going. I got 2 more trips and then I'm gonna take a little breather and maybe do some day trips.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been a big personal challenge to go from kind of tagging along on these trips and having the wardens to like being the person in charge. I was always in charge of like the monitoring part, but they were always in charge of the packing, and I just rode. And so, yeah, I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment of, and now for the last 3 years, like I have yet to go on a pack trip with somebody who knows how to ride.
So you've been a lead babysitter.
Yeah.
A little bit, huh?
And so I think that just puts way more pressure too.
It does.
And responsibility, because you already like have pressure, like, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking, you're packing to go from just riding to packing, and then also while you're doing that, be responsible for somebody else's safety that you really can't help because you're packing. I mean, when you're packing, you're like, sorry, you're on your own. So that's been great. The first trip that it took a while for me to actually build my confidence up to just do it, Last night you were talking about how do you get confidence? You just do it. You just got it. And, and there's times when you just have to like look yourself in the eye and be like, you just got to do this. Because once you do it, you're like, meh, I didn't die.
Yeah, but did you die? Yeah,
No,
I'm good.
Die.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. It's like the first time you go hiking in bear country. People are nervous. You didn't die. You do it again. You're fine. And so I picked up my friend Leah, who's another biologist with the state. I told her, I said, I'll pick you up at fishing game at 6:30, and we'll head out. So I pull in with the horse trailer, and I'm just like, I got 3 mules loaded, and I was like, I was kind of nervous. And I was like, tick, 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 tick. And it was just the week before I had been practicing around the property and up in the woods with Mouse, riding Mouse and packing Festus, and it had ended in a lot of bucking on all occasions. But then the day came and it was like, well, you better put your big girl panties on and just do it. You know, it's like, there might be some bucking. You'll just have to get through it. And so, but I was a little nervous, and Leah gets in the car, and I go, oh my God, Leah, I hope we don't die. And she goes, what do you mean? She goes, haven't you done this before? I was like, well, I mean, define this. And she's like, it'll be fine. I watched a YouTube video on how to ride last night.
Yeah,
and I was like, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
And the first day, which was just 9 miles, so not that far, was rough. But we got where we're going. We like both fell off our mules and kissed our ground, and we were like, hey man, neither one of us died. And we got up, we did it again tomorrow, and it was better. And so, yeah. And then I've just been doing it ever since now.
Just keep going.
Yeah, and it doesn't, and Leah still comes back. She's done several trips with me. And
Good.
yeah, we did
She didn't quit you, huh?
No, she didn't quit me. We did a week-long with her last year. And
yeah.
And yeah, and then sometimes I just hike and pack mouse. If I don't have enough, or I just want to go for a big long hike into the backcountry, mouse is the one I take, and I can easily get panniers on her, and she's pretty independent. And we've gone, Mouse and Leah and I went for a week once in the backcountry and had a great time. I think Mouse wanted to come in the cabins, but she sticks around.
So with your job, how often do you? I'm just thinking all the times you've already went this summer, but it seems like you get out a lot, which seems pretty cool.
Yes, yeah. I literally could get out as much as I want, I think. I take on a lot of projects, and so I'm pretty busy. And this year, field work has started heavy mid-May, and I will be going pretty strong here until September 11th. And
Are you going all over in Montana? Like, are you statewide, or is there a region that you're hanging out in?
I'm northwest Montana, so it's our administrative region 1 for Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, so that northwest corner. It's a pretty large region, so if other bios need help, I was supposed to go over to the East Front and do a pack trip with some of the biologists over there, but I got really too busy, and it was hard for me to justify going over there to help them when I needed to get stuff done. But it is nice. I can, even day trips in to access places, even if they're places like I can hike, It's like, it's a day, I can carry everything, but wouldn't it just be great to take the mules instead?
Yep.
And I can do that if I want. The biggest challenge I actually honestly run into is if the trails are clear enough to get through.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to do a job that has to get done, I don't have all day to clear a trail or all week to clear a trail to get there. I need to get in and get it done. And that's probably some of the biggest limitations to some of the areas that I would like to get into. That there's just not a lot of trail clearing, so yeah.
So you said sometimes you got to pack in like a cow femur, and then this box of scent.
Yes.
I can't imagine this scent is a delightful smell.
Well, so I've heard people complain all the time about how I smell.
So how do them, what do you do for packing? And I ask this because a lot of our listeners, they hunt, and I get questions often. Hey, how do I just get my mule confident packing game with the smell and things of approaching the animals? But what the heck are you doing with this nasty scent? How do your mules handle this? What's going on?
Honestly, I think this is a case of ignorance is bliss because, I don't know. You've known me a long time, and I just approach things like, well, you just do it. You just do it. Yeah. I never thought about it. Somebody was talking about that today. Like, well, I got this one mule that I can put meat on, but Steve and I were talking, and I was like, what do you mean you can't put meat on all your mules? Like, why wouldn't you? Just put it on there. And so I never thought about the scent pumps that way. But I just throw them up there on Festus. And
do you contain them in a way that it's not so potent?
No, dude, it stinks.
It just stinks right from the get-go. Like,
yeah,
it's not contained.
I mean, it is contained, but...
Like, you're not going to spill it all over you?
I do get it all over me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So the lure is a mixture of skunk quill, which is really bad.
And you're trying to attract what, martins?
Yes, but it will attract everything. Everything. So it's beaver castor.
Everything except for your husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Other people don't
Other
tend
people
to like
not
me.
so much.
Yeah, people in the office are like, they call me Stinky. But yeah, so it's like it's a beaver castor, martin lure, anise oil, skunk quill, and
Sounds like a witch's potion or something weird.
And it's the skunk quill that really smells.
Yeah.
And the skunk, it doesn't really bother me that much. And then the bones, I try to make sure they're relatively not rotted, because I don't like to pack rotted bones in with me. So they're usually pretty dried out. So they're not bad at all. But I've never thought about it. But I double bag them and everything, but dude, they stink. And then when you go to set these things up, you have to turn these pumps on. And then you got to unscrew it, and it gets in my hands. I actually thought about it. This last trip, I smelled my hands as I crawled in my tent, and I was like, well, this is what we're using to attract bears and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like crawling in my tent, stinking like it.
You're like a bear burrito right there.
Yeah,
just perfect. Smell.
I was like, maybe I should go find some hand sanitizer or something. So yeah. But I mean, like you said, like I never really thought about it.
Just do it.
Just did it. And I think
it's one of those things you have to do it too. Like, you've heard me talk about it with usually referring to ranch work or whatever, that it's the job. Like, you have to go gather those cows and bring them in today, and you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be water to cross. There's going to be this and that and that and this that might be issues for your mules, but we have to do the job before the day's done. And it's kind of the same thing for you. This is the job. We got to do it. Like, you're either going to pack it in on you, mule, because I ain't packing it on my back.
I pack in a lot of it on my back too, but, but yes, yeah, and I think that, I think that's really important when you're dealing with mules or people. Like, if you're confident and you exude like, yeah, this is no big deal. We're just, whether it's you got somebody that doesn't know how to ride and you're like, hey man, this is how you get on.
Yep.
Don't touch anything, And if you're like, yeah, it's all going to be good, then it probably will be, and they'll feel comfortable. And I think it's the same with the mules. It's like, well, this is what we're going to do, and you just do it. Then they don't think about it. If you exude trepidation or hesitation, or, gosh, I'm worried that this might happen, or worried that they're not going to be okay with the panniers, you're probably setting yourself up for that to happen. For a wreck. And the first time I took Mouse in, it was with Leah again. Poor Leah. I don't even know why we're still friends, and we got to the trailhead, and I had the night before I had thrown the pack saddle on Mouse and was like, that worked. Threw some empty panniers on her, and she was like, I'm like, okay. So I got to the trailhead and I loaded the panniers up, and I put a pannier on. Well, before I put it on, I told Leah how we were going to do this. And I said, look, when I put this pannier on, you hold the weight. I'll go get the other one so the saddle doesn't tip. Just hold it up. I said, but look, if she has a problem, I said, you just back away and I will take care of this. Don't get hurt. Just back away if there's a problem. And she looked at me and she's like, have you not done this before? I was like, well, I mean, technically.
Well, define done this.
Yeah, define done this. I was like,
how do you keep your friends around?
I was like, Leah, it's going to be fine. And she was like, okay, and it was fine. I mean, Mouse hit the first tree, jumped sideways, and then she never hit another tree. And we put the painters on. She was kind of like, what is this? and she walked off, and it was fine because I was like, nope, come on, Mouse, we're going. You know, like everything's fine here. Nobody needs to panic. So I try to maintain that.
Well, you do a good job with your mules, and something I appreciate as a student in you, always trying to set things up for success with your mule. All of them. You know, you're part of the master class continually. You're a coaching student, and you know, when you do send in your questions, you're always pretty particular about how you're going to get things done, and you know what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and set your mules up for success. I like that. So, do you have a favorite one right now? You got a favorite mule?
No, I mean,
Like who's your Mouse? Seems she's your go-to.
Yeah.
Like she's your steadiest one.
yes. She is my steadiest one, and I tend to end up dragging people along that don't have a lot of abilities or any.
Mm-hmm.
So I ride Mouse a lot because not much bothers Mouse
Yeah.
anymore. And so, or if I have someone who has a mule that might be a little bit less experienced or a little bit less handleable, it won't bother Mouse. She won't get bothered. So I ride Mouse a lot. I do love my little squirrel. I see big, great things for her.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Because you just did the colt starting with me a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good experience, and you did a lot of prep work prior to that, getting her ready. You made a lot of great changes with her. She was, you know, just from the beginning a pretty sensitive mule and worried about lots of things, pretty scared. She didn't get handled a lot as a baby, so she's kind of, I wouldn't say wild, but she sure wasn't like totally chill with everything. So you've learned a lot with her, and you've taken her pretty far up to this point. You're doing amazing. So talk about your experience with her so far.
Thanks. Yeah, she was a little squirrel. Wasn't a misnomer. Yeah, she was a little squirrely, but that didn't bother me. And she was just afraid. And
because so far your other mules have always been a remodel.
nah, well,
sorts.
Mouse, kinda. I mean, Squirrel is the only one that I have taken from
the beginning.
From the
start.
very, very beginning. Mouse had been saddled and had groundwork, but hadn't been ridden. Mouse was afraid of everyone and everything. So I had already dealt with kind of the fear factor, so that doesn't bother me. But yeah, so Squirrel was the first where I was like, this is a clean slate. And it didn't take long for Squirrel to realize that I was her friend, and we were friends, and then we were best friends.
Yeah, she likes you.
And so, yeah, and then after that, you know, things become easier once they trust you. So it's been great because I feel like I'm at this stage in my learning and my skill level where I can really help her. Whereas maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been I would have done the best I could and muddled through it, and we would have come up with an end product or a journey, but it wouldn't. I think we're progressing a lot faster than the other two that I have right now did, just because of my skill set. But also she learns fast. You know, she really does, and she's incredibly trusting now, and so I can do whatever. Yeah, so it's been great. I've had so much fun. I've started other, you know, colts, but not from the beginning, or I've done first rides and saddle broke other ones, but going to colt starting was like, I mean, like everybody I tell, I'm like, oh my God, colt starting is the coolest thing ever because, you know, I mean, it was like just a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
And I think it got her so much further advanced than I could have done alone. there was exposure and things that was just this great experience for her that I wouldn't have been able to do by myself, like four-wheelers and roping dummies and cows. And so it's really nice to have Squirrel, which watching her every day get better and learn and get more confidence in herself and more relaxed. Like, it's just cracking me up yesterday when she was so relaxed, she was drooling. I was like, oh, this is embarrassing, Squirrel. The drool back in your face. But she was just like, eh. I was like, well, she's exhausted, but she's also relaxed, you know? Like, you don't drool when you're not relaxed. And yeah, I see great things for Squirrel. So, and she's definitely like, I am Squirrel's best friend, you know? And so I do love to just spend time with her. And we spend a lot of time, whether it's just in the paddock together or if I take, you know, when I take her out to work her, a lot of at the end, I just sit on the ground and we just hang out together. We'll hang out for like an hour sometimes, just hanging out. And when I first got her, you couldn't go past her shoulders, you know, like that was a no-go zone. Now I can hang all over her and yeah, so. But it's hard to say. It's like saying which one of your kids is your favorite, you know?
Depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day.
Just kidding, Ellie and Swayze, they listen to the show.
It does depend on the day.
They're both my favorite.
Yeah, but you know, I remember my sister growing up, my sister used to tell my mom, you love Jessy more than you love me. And she's like, I do not. I love you both because you're different people, you know? And that's kind of how I feel. And I think that keeps things so interesting. They're so individualized.
Oh yeah,
and
you got 3 totally different mules. Like they're all
they are
very different.
Very different, and they, you know, and depending on how I feel on a given day is who I pull out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, man, like I love riding Festus. Absolutely, he's just like he's a dream to ride. He's just really fun. But if I'm feeling like I may not want to be on my A game today, I don't necessarily pull him out, you know. So
his nickname is Tigger.
Yeah, Tiggers like to bounce.
Tigers like to bounce.
Yeah, he's less.
I remember the clinic in Whitehall, Montana. It was you know what I'm talking about. It was one of my.
You almost quit your job.
It was the one clinic. There'd been a few clinics where I'm like, I don't know, do I really want to do this? But that was one of them that I remember after day 1, I was thinking, all right, Ty, you really want to do this? And I went back and told Sky, whined to her. She's like, you toughen up, come on, you know. I'm like, no, today was crazy. It was so bad. I just remember I'm about to begin, I click on my mic. And you go hogging across the arena, honk, 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 honk. And she, just like she's laughing now, she's just laughing the whole time. And Festus is just hogging it across the whole arena.
The whole length of the arena.
But that was just one little piece to this chaos clinic. We had old Frank and Percolator.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know if that guy's still around.
Yeah.
He was pretty old at the clinic.
He was 82.
82 at the clinic, and this is a long time ago now.
And that was Heather and Scott's first clinic.
Yeah, Heather and Scott Lynn. Yep.
And I thought about them because as Festus was bucket, and he had his head between his front legs, just boom, but wasn't looking where he was going. And I almost ran over Brennan. And I said,
Brennan was there?
Yeah, Brennan. And I was like, watch out, Brennan! And Brennan just smiled. Festus saw the back of Fiona, went, and boom, boom, kept going. And I looked up, and you were very calm on your Madonna mic, and you were like, keep your heels down, Jessy. Bend them if you can.
I was calm on the mic, and
I know.
internally I'm like, everybody's dying.
I know, and I was like, bend him. Have you seen his neck?
I'm pretty good at pretending like I'm all good, so life's fine.
I know.
And then at the end of the clinic, I'm like, oh man.
I know.
Oh.
Well, then I look up, and Heather was on her horse that reminded me of a seahorse, kind of the way it looked. And Scott was on Dutton, and they were together. And there was all these people that were having a very hard time moving out of this mass at the end. And I look up, and here it was like bowling alley. I was like, Festus is gonna kill them all. And I was like, save yourselves. And right about that time, I finally got him bent around and stopped.
Yeah.
But I thought, I am going to kill all of these nice, fine people that I have not met yet.
You know, old Frank and Percolator, I just remember he was having all these issues on that first day. And, you know, he was having a hard time getting on, get Percolator stand still. And Sky was there, and there's so much other little side shows going on that I asked Sky, can you just go help Frank and Percolator? Because my mind was like, well, surely this old guy, he's not going to have like this outlaw mule. Like, it's just having some issues standing, and like Sky can line that out, you know, she's good. And so she's over there, and she comes back to me, she says, nope, that's above my pay grade. This is your clinic, bud. I'm like, okay, all right. And Frank is still trying. And I told Frank, do you remember, I sent him into that catch pen. And so there's a picture, just a typical fairground arena, and it has a little out gate for the buck and stock. And it's basically picture like a 24 by 12 pen. So I put old Frank in there, and I'm attending to all the rest of you out there. And out of the corner of my eye, I see, I don't remember who the heck it was, but there's a couple guys, and they're on both sides of the Percolator, hanging onto his reins, and Frank is climbing up on him. And before I can say anything, just like he was getting on a bucking horse at the rodeo, Frank like nods his head like, okay, boys, let him out. And they let him out. Do you remember they opened the gate, and old Percolator just shoots out of there like a bullet. And Frank's face is just like tight. And remember how stiff he was? And he just zooming around there. And if you guys listening or watching right now, go on my video library, and they're in the section clips from clinics. There's a segment in there from Whitehall, Montana, from this clinic, and I'm talking about something. Whatever, I don't remember what the video is about, but I'm talking about something. And if you watch closely, you'll see Frank and Percolator zip by. And you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, in that afternoon, I came off mouse.
Yeah, you came off mouse. Yeah,
that was
a funny deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rode the bronc Festus across the arena, and then mouse just tipped sideways, and you splattered off. I don't know, we were kind of transitions or something.
You know,
cow working, I can't remember what it was.
It's funny, like, you know, yesterday Heather, and she was having issues with her horse and working through it, and you never want to be center of attention. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I'm that guy, you know. I'm that guy that's like got the, you know, and I think it's really, I always am like, well, I've been that guy a bunch, right? And it's really, I was thinking about this last night when we were talking about confidence and stuff. The very first clinic that I came to with my own mule was Penelope. Yep. And she was a handful.
Yeah, she was a handful.
I mean, she was rearing up and screaming. I could barely get her in the arena, and then I couldn't get on her, and I didn't know anybody. I was by myself, and I was definitely that guy, and I was in over my head, but I was like, well, this is what I'm here for, right? I'm just going to work hard. And, but I'll never, you said yesterday how you don't realize sometimes some of the little things you say to people and how it sticks with them and how it changes things. Yeah. Sid Meier's, everybody was cheering for me, which was great, huge support. But Sid Meier's, I rode up to Sid, and she goes, don't worry, my mule was worse. And I was like, how is that even possible? but you know, just her saying that gave me the confidence to be like, me? Okay, well, she obviously has done something right. Her mule doesn't look that bad now, you know? And I was like, I could do this. And so ever since then, like, when I come to the clinics, I try to help out and encourage those folks that are having a little bit of trouble, because I know how important it was to me when I was having that rough go. I I could have ended that clinic and got rid of that mule and never come back and been like, oh my gosh. But it was the people at the clinic and the support that helped build my confidence, and that kept me going. And so I think it's really nice, and I think it's something that we all should do, because we've all been there, to like help those other folks when they're having a rough time, to let them know like, hey man, I bucked all the way around this. I just fell off today. I mean, it is what it is. You'll be fine.
I always do feel a little bit bad for the people that end up being the center of attention, because it's usually because they're having a hard time. Mm-hmm. And as much as, everybody can say, yeah, we come to the clinic to get some help, but sometimes not that much help. But if they can just take the advice I'm giving them, mm-hmm. and when I'm talking to them, a lot of times that ends up being a little bit more firm of a conversation that we're having. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of firming up on them. That's because they're for safety.
Yes.
Like, I want them to be safe. I don't want somebody to get hurt. And so when I'm saying, hey, do figure 8, go now, do this, that, whatever, walk, or stop, or get off, or get on, or whatever. It's because I want them to be safe. And if they can just take the advice I'm giving them, even though it might be a situation that's a little bit more firm than they kind of want, and more attention than they want, but like you have so many times, just make it through that, take the advice, set your ego and pride aside, take the advice and just work at it. Mm-hmm. Like you, it works out. Mm-hmm. And I love your statement as well about compliments, because you just never know how your compliment or comment might get somebody through something. And mm-hmm. never miss a chance or an opportunity to give somebody a compliment. And you're really good at that, Jessy. I listen to you, I hear you out here, and you ride past somebody. Yesterday we were working, and you're helping Wanda. She got kind of hung up. This particular situation, this participant, the student in our class, was riding a mule, but she brought her horse along. And if you want to know the mule's Achilles heel, it's a horse. Mm-hmm. They love horses. It's just, I would never recommend anybody to bring their horse as a binky or a baby blanket for their mule in the class. It's so distracting. Mm-hmm. And she did that, and she was dealing with that. And I was giving her some tips, and I firmed up on her.
Yeah.
I said, come on.
I'm going to flag you. I was like,
I said, you need to get out there. I'm going to flag you. Because she was getting so hung up. And mm-hmm. and if you was watching her horse was like flicking its tail, like it was kind of sick of the mule too. And I'm seeing the situation boil up, and I'm thinking, lady, if you don't get out of there, I'm thinking you might be getting kicked here. Yeah. Also, her mule, how she was approaching it, she was doing just enough to her mule to annoy. And I was seeing that brew up. So I'm seeing these situations, and you know me, I'm going to let people work through things up to their ability.
Till they're going to get hurt.
But then I need to step in when there's risk. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I firmed up, and I try to choose my words wisely. I'm getting better at it. Mm-hmm. But you were so great at that moment, because it was kind of like a good cop, bad cop deal. I was bad cop for sure.
I was the good cop.
You were the good cop, and you said, come on, Wanda, follow me. Mm. And your comment to her put a to-do, okay, yes, I'll follow you. And you really helped her out of that situation. And, I don't know how much she took to heart and how much she learned there. I know she didn't bring the horse today, so that was good. But you really helped her. And so to everybody out there, never miss an opportunity to help somebody like that. You do a great job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, I mean, there's been plenty of people that have helped me. Yeah. So it's like, it's nice to be able to be in a position. And, honestly, I think, when you help somebody else, you learn something big time, but it just helps build your confidence too. Mm-hmm. And I think, by taking my focus off a squirrel too while we're riding, and that directive, okay, squirrel, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, whatever. Yeah. And be like, no, our job now is to focus on Wanda and help Wanda. Then it was like, I stopped thinking about what I was doing with squirrel and just was like, oh yeah, come on. So that was helpful to me too, you know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
It does change something when you get put in a position to where you have to help somebody.
Yeah.
And that's nothing new coming from me. There's a million studies and a million really great teachers that have shared this and professed this, that, you know, the real learning happens when you put yourself into that teacher's position to share it. And I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, and when I used to do bear work, and I'd have technicians, and bear work can be kind of scary at times, honestly. And
yeah, I agree. Yeah, you don't have to say honestly. We believe you.
You know, I mean, we were doing a lot.
Bear work can be scary at times.
We were doing a lot of, conflict work. So
Yeah.
chasing bears out of neighborhoods and with a handful of rocks and a bad attitude, and you'd get people that were afraid of bears, and you didn't want to exude this to make their fear worse, right? So you had to be like very confident about it, even if you were a little bit afraid. But by worrying about them to be like, okay, I think it really, it helps you get over things really fast. You know, if you are trying to present an image and to this person to build their confidence, yours is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
And good things will usually happen. Handful of rocks, and you can tree a sow with cubs,
This is not recommended at home, people.
We don't recommend this to do this at home.
Yeah. She's a trained biologist and slightly crazy. So.
But yeah, so it is one of those things where I thought about that a lot when I dealt with new technicians, back there, of how to make them safe, but also let them know when it's okay to push it and to be confident, because especially with bears, if you're confident, you're usually safe.
Yeah.
As long as you're not a big surprise. That's different. Yeah.
It's interesting. We talk about with the mules a lot what yielding does, just in your relationship with the mule. People that continue to get pushed around and kind of run over by their mule, you watch them, they do a lot of yielding. And in Utah, there's a lot of houndsmen. Bear hunting is a big deal, and it's interesting as it sounds, and you can confirm with me. It sounds like working around bears, you do not yield.
No. Yes.
Like even a slight lean back or a slight step back can make a difference in the scenario you're dealing with there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. You don't yield. And it's, I haven't done a lot of cow working, obviously, but dealing with wildlife in general, it's all about those angles too, and not yielding, and those angles. And it is very similar, and with mules, it's the same thing. Where are you positioning yourself to move them? And it's the exact same thing with wildlife, like large carnivores and moose even. And
so if you want to get better with your mules, go see if you can.
Bears around.
Just kidding.
Go push bears around with your mule. Yeah.
You ever heard those old vaquero stories of them roping them bears in California?
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I don't know. That sounds pretty mythical to me.
Yeah.
But a lot of there's a lot of stories about things like that. These guys roping a bear. And old Reed Veit, he's got a great poem about roping a bear.
Oh, really?
And I don't know. I don't know if it's his. I don't believe it's his original. I don't know. But basically, the story goes there's this old cowboy out there and comes upon a bear, and he's pretty bored. This cowboy, he's just checking cows all day, right? So he's gonna build a loop, and let's rope a bear. This is gonna be fun, and he's chasing the bear, and he gets it roped, and it's going pretty good for a while, and then pretty soon it's not going so good, and pretty soon he's in a wreck, and he's getting bucked off his horse, and his horse and the bear are gone, And so this old cowboy, he's sad about, he made this mistake and he lost a good horse. He lost a good saddle, lost a good rope. He's going through this stuff, and then he's walking back to the ranch all downhearted, and then all of a sudden he hears something behind him, and here comes this horse. And on top of this horse is this bear building a loop. And the poem kind of ends there.
That's awesome. I'm gonna get it back.
Yeah, gonna get it back. But well,
awesome.
It's been awesome having you on the show, and
Yeah,
thanks for doing this. You've been on my list for a long time to get an interview with, and
probably some other lists too.
Yeah, you're on all kinds of lists. You make all kinds of lists. No, but it's awesome, and I guess the one thing that I really appreciate about you, you've kind of mentioned already, is your enthusiasm to learn. You're a true student that loves learning, and I wish that was a more contagious thing, that people could catch that and be like you, to just love to learn and just continue it. And again, thanks for being such a confidence builder for all the other students. You come to the clinic and your attitude is so awesome. The joy that you bring, it's really just amazing. So all of you guys listening, if you can ever draw up at a clinic with Jessy and get lucky to
watch her fly,
come hang out, it's always fun, and it's always a good time. But I like to, as you know, you listen to podcasts for a long time.
Yeah.
I like to finish up all my guest episodes with a word of advice to our listeners. This can be life advice, it can be mulemanship advice, it could be bear advice, whatever. But for somebody going through this thing called life today, and they're listening, and they're dealing with whatever world they live in today, what piece of advice would you like to leave with them today?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Like, just don't get hung up on anything, and if there's something you think you need to do and you know you probably should, then just do it, and it'll probably be just fine. Probably.
Those are two pieces of
okay,
great
2 pieces of advice.
And I like that. Yeah, because it's really easy in mulemanship to get hung up on small, little, meaningless things.
Yes.
And then you miss out on the important stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, your second piece of advice is wonderful, that if something needs to be done, just do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's just great success advice. That's why you're so successful in your sphere of life and everything that you do. So
Thanks, Ty.
appreciate you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate being here, and yeah, these last 10 years have changed my perspective on a lot of things. So, and you should be, you've changed a lot of people, and I mean, I'm probably a lot weirder because I know you now. So.
Hey, it's cool to be weird. You hang out with me.
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you, Jessy, and all of our listeners out there. Thanks for tuning in. We always love to hear your feedback, so be sure to let me know how you like this episode. Leave a review if you can. Big thanks to our sponsors. We got a few of them. We got Roman Home Tents, been supporting us for years. Western Mule Magazine, Mules and More Magazine, Colt Saddlery, and Diamond W Enterprises. Big thanks to all of them. If you guys run into any of those folks, tell them thanks for supporting the podcast. And with that, my friends, God bless you, and we will see you down the road.